listen closely. Chosen one. This message is not for the crowd, nor for the comfortable. It is for the soul that has walked through darkness and dared to keep the flame alive when no one else believed. It is for you, the one they tried to silence, the one they buried beneath lies, loss, and misunderstanding. But what they didn't know was that the soil they covered you with was not your grave. It was your garden. You felt it, didn't you? That season when everything seemed to fall apart, the friendships that faded, the opportunities that dissolved, the sudden stillness that made you question whether heaven still remembered your name. You stood there, surrounded by endings, and something inside whispered, "This cannot be the end." You were right. Because God never buries his promises, he plants them. Every tear that fell was watering something unseen. Every closed door was sealing off what could have poisoned your purpose. Every moment of isolation was the sacred chamber where your roots went deep enough to sustain the weight of what's about to bloom. You thought they buried you, but heaven was positioning you. They threw dirt on your name, but that dirt became your covering. They walked away, but their absence created the space where God could breathe into you again. And now, beneath the surface of everything that once broke you, life is stirring. Something holy is pushing upward. The darkness that pressed against you was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to form the pressure that produces the flower. So hear this clearly. The season of hidden growth is ending. The first light of divine bloom is breaking through the soil. The world will soon see what heaven already declared over you. You are not the same seed that was buried. You are the blossom heaven has been nurturing in secret. Stay with this message until the end, for in the next moments you will understand why you had to be buried. How God guarded you in the dark, and what is about to rise from your life that no human hand can stop. You see, what looked like a burial was heaven's hidden investment. The ground was not your enemy, it was your protection. There are certain things God can only grow in the dark: humility, endurance, discernment, obedience. The sunlight of success cannot produce these fruits. They bloom only beneath the weight of waiting. In that hidden place, God was doing his deepest work. He was whispering over your spirit, even when you couldn't hear him, when you thought heaven was silent. He was speaking in frequencies your heart hadn't yet learned to interpret. When you felt forgotten, he was shielding you from being seen too soon. Because premature exposure kills what is meant to carry eternal fruit. There's a divine rhythm to God's timing that no man can rush. You were never off schedule. You were being aligned. You were never behind. You were being refined. And though you could not see it, the soil that covered you was laced with heaven's fingerprints. Grace, mercy, and promise were intertwined in every grain. There is a sacred truth the Spirit wants you to understand. When God plants something, he hides it not because it's dead, but because it's destined. He hides greatness not to diminish it, but to develop it. He hides anointed ones, not to ignore them, but to prepare them to handle the light when it finally shines. You have been in divine concealment, and while the world called it loss, heaven called it incubation. You were set apart, sealed, and strengthened in secret, because what is about to emerge through your life cannot be common. It carries eternal purpose. Even now, as these words reach your ears, something inside you recognizes this truth. Your spirit remembers promises your mind forgot. You can sense it. The waiting was never wasted. The storms, the silences, the betrayals, they were all coordinates in God's larger design. Heaven has been orchestrating something beyond your comprehension. You were not left in the dark. You were being rooted in revelation. And now the divine hand that planted you is preparing to lift you. Do not mistake this moment for coincidence. This is not just another message, not just another encouragement video. This is heaven's confirmation that the shift has already begun. You are standing at the edge of emergence. The same ground that once held you down is about to open and release you upward. So breathe. You have survived the soil, and the one who buried you is the same one who's about to display you. In the next part of this revelation, the meaning of this season will unfold. You'll see why certain endings had to occur, what your blooming represents in heaven's timeline, and how divine favor will now begin to manifest publicly. What's rising from the soil of your life right now is not random. It's resurrection. The same God who allowed you to be pressed into the ground is now commanding what he planted to break through. You have entered a divine blooming season, one written into your destiny long before the pain, the silence, the exile ever began. This is that moment heaven spoke of, the unveiling after the hiding, the flourishing after the famine, the beauty after the burial. You are about to see what the waiting was for. Because even in your darkest hour, God never stopped building. He was sculpting you into a vessel that could hold greater glory. Every heartbreak hollowed out space for more light. Every delay refined your roots until they could anchor you in promise, not pride. And now the Lord says, "What I buried in you, I will bring forth in fullness." The same ground that covered you in sorrow will burst open in splendor. You are about to bloom in a place where people left you for dead. You will prosper in the very field where others planted doubt about your future. You will be elevated in the sight of those who once walked away, not for revenge, but as proof that God alone determines who rises. The prophecy is this: you are emerging radiant and unstoppable under divine appointment. There is a fragrance to your new season, the scent of something heaven has approved. When you walk into rooms now, the atmosphere will shift. Conversations will align. Opportunities will recognize you. What resisted you before will begin to open without force, because your timing and your transformation have finally converged. And yet this bloom is not about showing off. It's about showing God, the way you survived, the way you kept faith when logic told you to quit. That is your testimony, your fragrance, your offering. Your story itself will become a seed for others. The same power that resurrected you will call forth life in those who hear your name, see your glow, or cross your path. The Spirit whispers, tell them they will bloom beyond recognition. Yes, you will not even look like the person who was buried. The weight that once crushed you will now crown you. The shame that once silenced you will become the platform for your voice. The rejection that once defined you will become the reference point for God's redemption. There is a holy reversal underway. The pit is turning into a platform. The dirt is becoming your display. The season of weeping is transforming into the season of revealing. This is not a small shift. It is a divine unveiling written into heaven's calendar. What seemed delayed is now arriving on schedule. The prophecy over your life has entered manifestation mode. You might feel it even now, the stirring in your spirit, the subtle weight of peace mixed with holy fire. That's the confirmation heaven is already moving on your behalf. Angels have been dispatched. Alignments are forming. The buried seed is breaking through. And as you rise, understand this truth. Your bloom will not come through striving but through surrender. The soil has already done the heavy lifting. Your part now is to unfold, to open to the light, to allow God's glory to express itself through you without apology. Because this bloom carries heaven's signature, it cannot be replicated, replaced, or restricted. The prophecy has spoken. You will rise from what tried to ruin you. You will bloom in places meant to bury you. You will stand as living proof that God's timing is never off and His hand never misses what it plants. And as this unfolding continues, we will now go deeper into the spiritual meaning and depth behind this blooming season. you will see the eternal laws and divine symbols hidden beneath the surface of your struggle, and why your story mirrors the sacred pattern of heaven's creative power itself. Every divine season has its rhythm, sowing silence, sprouting, and showing. You, beloved, have walked each phase without fully realizing the depth of what heaven was teaching you. For every chosen vessel, the path to manifestation follows the pattern of creation itself. Death before life, stillness before movement, darkness before dawn. When God created the world, the first thing he hovered over was chaos. There was no shape, no clarity, no light, only the potential waiting to be spoken into form. And then came his word, "Let there be light." That same word, that same voice hovered over the chaos of your life. While you saw confusion, heaven saw incubation. While you saw endings, heaven saw beginnings taking shape in unseen dimensions. The soil that held you was the same place heaven used to separate the old from the new. You were not just surviving the burial, you were becoming the garden. The darkness you walked through was not punishment, it was preparation. The waiting wasn't wasted time, it was womb time. Just as a seed must be buried before it can bear fruit, your spirit needed the sacred pressure of the unseen to activate its divine design. In the stillness, your spiritual DNA remembered who it was. The very identity heaven encoded in you before birth began to reawaken. There is a mystery in the way God grows his people. He allows the storm to prune. He allows the soil to press. He allows the silence to sharpen your hearing until his whisper becomes unmistakable. Every tear you shed became irrigation for your promise. Every disappointment became fertilizer for your destiny. You have been learning, even if you didn't realize it, how to live by divine rhythm rather than human reaction. When others chased validation, you were being trained in visibility restraint. When others sought platforms, you were being taught to build altars. When others pursued recognition, you were learning revelation. Because heaven's graduates are crowned in private before they are seen in public. Understand this deeply. Blooming is not about appearance, it's about alignment. A flower does not strain to open. It yields to timing, temperature, and light. Likewise, you are not called to force your future open. You are called to remain rooted, receptive, and ready for God's signal of release. This blooming represents your surrender, your moment of divine synchronization with heaven's pulse. And when you are in rhythm with the Creator, manifestation becomes natural. Spiritually, this season carries a profound code. Burial is the disguise of becoming. That's why your setbacks felt like sabotage. They were actually sacred setups. That's why your silence felt endless. Heaven was rewiring your spiritual circuitry. That's why people withdrew, not because you failed, but because you outgrew their frequency. The law of divine timing states what is planted in obedience will bloom in revelation. And now that revelation is beginning to unfold through your life. The soil represents humility. You could not rise until you bowed. The roots represent surrender unseen, but strong enough to anchor you. The rain represents grace, sometimes cold, sometimes heavy, but always necessary. And the sunlight represents divine favor. It comes at the appointed time, not a moment sooner. All along, God has been shaping you into his reflection, patient, powerful, and purposeful. You are being transformed from the inside out, so that when the world sees you bloom, they will see his glory, and not just your growth. You were never meant to blend in with the garden. You were planted to stand out as heaven's masterpiece. Your colors, your uniqueness, your calling, your scars were painted by the master gardener himself. Even the petals of your life, the delicate parts that once seemed fragile, carry divine intention. The same softness that made you feel weak is now your ministry of compassion. The same wounds that bled are now the rivers of healing you'll pour into others. This is the hidden beauty of divine growth. Nothing is wasted. Not one tear, not one betrayal, not one delay. Every broken piece became part of the mosaic that makes your story miraculous. So the spiritual meaning is clear. You were not being buried to die. You were being buried to multiply. You were not abandoned. You were assigned. You were not forgotten. You were fertilized. And now as the bloom begins, heaven wants you to recognize the signs, the divine confirmations, that what you've endured was indeed sacred, and that your season of unveiling has begun. When heaven begins to shift the atmosphere around your life, the signs are never random. They appear like gentle echoes, subtle yet unmistakable for those whose hearts are tuned to the divine frequency. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. And if you've been wondering whether the bloom has begun, watch carefully, for these are the indicators that heaven is already moving. First, you will sense a sudden inner release. The weight that used to sit heavy on your chest begins to lift. The battles that once consumed your mind start to lose their power. It's as if something invisible has been unlocked within you, a quiet strength that no longer needs to prove itself. That's not emotional fluctuation. That's spiritual clearance. Heaven is saying you're free to rise. Second, the people around you begin to shift. Some will quietly drift away without confrontation. Others will reappear after years, sensing the fragrance of your new season. Do not cling to what heaven is pruning, and do not chase what was meant to stay behind. The garden only flourishes when old leaves fall away. This rearrangement of relationships is divine, not rejection, but redirection. Third, your spirit becomes unusually sensitive to peace. You will find yourself drawn to stillness, sacred quiet, and solitude. Where you once sought noise for comfort, you now crave silence to hear. That's because God's voice is becoming clearer, sharper, more personal. Peace will become your new confirmation code. Wherever peace remains, purpose resides. Fourth, new opportunities will begin to appear with almost supernatural alignment. Emails, calls, or encounters that seem too perfect will start to cross your path. Doors that were once bolted shut will begin to open effortlessly. This isn't luck. It's the rhythm of divine orchestration. The same soil that once hid your seed is now pushing your name into visibility. Fifth, your dreams and visions may intensify. Colors will feel brighter, meanings deeper, and certain numbers or words may repeat around you. Do not dismiss them. They are heaven's language of affirmation, reminders that your bloom has been noticed by the unseen realm. God often confirms new seasons through repetition, resonance, and restlessness that leads to revelation. And sixth, there will be a sudden clarity of purpose. What once felt foggy will now begin to make sense. Past pain will suddenly reveal its pattern. You will understand why certain prayers were delayed, why some doors closed, why others never opened. Every thread of confusion will weave into a picture of divine symmetry. If you're recognizing these signs, understand this. The prophecy has already begun its fulfillment. You are no longer waiting for permission to grow. You are in motion. Heaven has spoken yes over your life, and now the physical realm is simply catching up. But with new life always comes new resistance. Before the full bloom appears, there are still hidden challenges to endure, moments designed not to destroy you, but to strengthen the stem of your faith before the weight of your promise settles upon it. Let us now step into the next part of the revelation. The hidden challenges to understand why even as you bloom, the tests may intensify, and how to remain unshaken when they do. Even as new light breaks across your life, you may notice something unexpected. The bloom attracts pressure. The moment a flower rises above the soil, it faces wind, rain, and heat. The same elements that once nourished it now begin to test its strength. So it is with you. The bloom does not end the battle, it reveals the resilience forged in the dark. Many mistake this phase as another delay. but it is the divine resistance test. Before the world sees your beauty, heaven ensures your roots can handle visibility. You are being stabilized for elevation. Do not be surprised if old patterns try to reappear. Familiar fears resurfacing doubts, echoes of insecurity. They are not back to haunt you. They are back to confirm your healing. The enemy always checks whether the gate he once entered is still open. But what he doesn't realize is that the version of you that existed before the burial no longer lives here. These hidden challenges may appear in various forms. A. The test of patience. You will see small signs of progress and feel the urge to rush. Yet the Spirit will whisper, wait. This waiting isn't denial, it's refinement. God is aligning your pace with purpose, ensuring that what blooms in you doesn't fade prematurely. B. The test of discernment. As your light grows, attention increases. Not every hand that claps for you is clean, and not every voice that praises you carries peace. You will need spiritual clarity to know who is for your growth and who is drawn only to your glow. God will expose motives not to make you fearful, but to make you wise. C. The test of stewardship. You'll be entrusted with opportunities that test your humility. Will you use your influence to serve or to shine? Heaven watches closely in this stage, because how you handle blessing determines how long it lasts. D. The test of faith under pressure. Even in bloom, storms may come. It will rain when you expected sunshine. The wind may shake your branches. But remember, no storm uproots what was planted by God. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It's preservation. The wind trains your flexibility. The rain deepens your roots. The storm proves your substance. And finally, E. The test of isolation in elevation. As you rise, the view changes, and so does the crowd. Elevation is beautiful, but lonely. Not everyone can breathe at your altitude. You will have moments of sacred solitude again, but this time it won't be the isolation of despair. It will be the solitude of destiny. These challenges do not signal regression, they mark ascension. The same God who covered you in the soil now surrounds you in the storm. You are being refined, not reduced. If you can remain grounded during these tests, your bloom will not just be visible, it will be vibrant, unshakable, and lasting. And so, heaven now moves to the next part of this revelation, the divine instruction, where you will receive specific spiritual guidance for walking through this blooming season with clarity, authority, and peace. You have endured the burial. You have survived the breaking. Now heaven calls you to walk wisely within your blooming. For the bloom is not a finish line, it is a beginning. What you do in this season determines whether your garden multiplies or withers. So listen closely. These are heaven's instructions for those stepping into divine visibility. 1. Stay rooted in the source. When God lifts you, stay low in spirit. The soil that once hid you must never be forgotten, for humility is the fragrance that sustains divine favor. Keep your secret place alive. The prayers you whispered in the dark must continue in the light. Do not trade intimacy for influence. One sustains the other. Your bloom was born from communion, not competition. Make it your daily rhythm to return to the one who gave you breath. Read, rest, listen, and worship not for results, but for relationship. If you keep the roots alive, the flower will never dry out. 2. Guard your atmosphere. Everything that grows needs the right environment. Your peace is now sacred territory. Treat it as holy ground. Do not allow gossip, fear, or comparison to pollute the air around you. Silence is a fertilizer for revelation. Distractions are weeds that choke destiny. Choose carefully where you plant your attention. Every conversation either waters your calling or drains it. Protect your mind from noise and your heart from bitterness. If something steals your peace, it is not sent by God. 3. Speak life daily. The tongue carries creative power. You cannot bloom outward while speaking death inward. Every morning declare what heaven has already written about you. I am growing in divine timing. I am favored, protected, and purposeful. I flourish in peace. Words are seeds. If you speak faith, faith grows. If you speak fear, fear grows. Your mouth must match your miracle. Speak not as a victim of the past, but as a vessel of purpose. You are heaven's gardener on earth. Plant wisely. 4. Move in obedience, not impulse. As new doors open, remember, not every invitation is instruction. You are not called to chase opportunity. You are called to discern assignment. Pray before you move. Listen before you answer. Sometimes the most powerful yes is the one that waits until peace confirms it. God's will never rushes you. It readies you. The enemy's trap in this season will be distraction disguised as destiny. Stay still long enough to know the difference. 5. Give where you've grown. Your story was never meant to be hoarded. What God birthed in you will multiply only when shared. Encourage those still buried. Remind them that darkness does not equal death. You were once the seed, now become the sower. Pour hope where you once cried. Mentor. Pray. Serve. The fragrance of your bloom carries healing for others. The more you pour, the more heaven replenishes you. 6. Prepare for multiplication. This is not a single bloom. It is the start of a garden. God's favor will soon attract increase, new opportunities, new assignments, new reach. Prepare with excellence. Manage your time. Steward your resources and remain teachable. Prosperity without preparation can crush purpose. So let diligence be your discipline. You are not striving for success. You are stewarding expansion. Heaven promotes those who can handle harvest. 7. Rest in the rhythm of grace. Not every day will feel radiant. Some days will feel like pruning again. When that happens, remember, the same God who made you bloom will prune you for your next growth. Rest, don't resist. Grace, not grind, is your new rhythm. There is no need to compete, compare, or hurry. You are right on schedule, every petal unfolding at heaven's pace. These instructions are not burdens. They are blueprints. Follow them, and your bloom will remain rooted, radiant, and resilient. And now, as heaven's word continues, comes a wave of comfort and assurance, a divine reminder that through every challenge, through every unseen test, you are divinely protected and never alone. Rest now, beloved. You've carried the weight of the waiting, the ache of transformation, the trembling of growth. And heaven wants you to know you were never unguarded. Even in the moments when you felt completely alone, you were surrounded. There are things you couldn't see while you were buried. The angels that stood watch over your process, the divine hand that controlled the depth of your descent, the unseen grace that kept the soil from suffocating your spirit. You were protected even when you thought you were forgotten. The same God who planted you has never taken his eyes off you. Every storm you faced had a boundary. Every trial had a timer. No weapon formed against you ever succeeded. Not because it didn't exist, but because heaven intervened before it could finish its work. Even now, divine protection encircles you like light unseen, but undeniable. The glow that others notice around you isn't just confidence. It's covering. The peace you've been feeling lately isn't just calm. It's confirmation. Heaven has established a hedge around your life. Wherever you walk, favor goes before you. Wherever you rest, angels stand beside you. When you sleep, the same spirit that hovered over creation hovers over your dreams, sealing you in perfect peace. Do not fear the envy that your bloom may awaken. Do not be anxious about eyes that watch or words that wound. For what is divinely planted cannot be uprooted by human hands. God's protection is not fragile, it is fortified by His promise. Remember this: you were covered in the crushing, you were hidden in the hardship, you will remain guarded in the glory. Your peace is proof that you are shielded. The stillness you feel in your spirit is heaven's signature of security. And in moments when fear whispers, "What if it happens again?" the Lord answers, "Even if the winds return, I am the anchor that holds you still. Every battle that shaped you has already lost its authority over you. Every voice that spoke against you has already been silenced by divine decree. You are walking now beneath an open heaven, and no darkness can dim the light that God Himself lit within you. This protection is not temporary. It extends into every space you'll step into, every relationship, every assignment, every new beginning. You carry heaven's seal. So walk boldly, speak freely, love without fear. Because the same God who carried you through the burial will carry you through the blooming and beyond it. The season of anxiety has expired. The mantle of assurance now rests upon you. Your heart can finally breathe again, for you are safe in the hands that shaped you. Now, as the divine covering remains in place, the next part of this word will unveil what your transformation truly means, the visible fulfillment of every promise that was hidden in your soil. And now, it begins to show. The shift that heaven whispered in secret has reached the surface. The bloom that was once invisible is now undeniable. You are standing in the fulfillment of what once felt like fantasy, not because everything looks perfect, but because your spirit has changed. You're no longer chasing validation, you are carrying revelation. You no longer ask, "When will it happen?" because it's happening in you. Peace has become your proof. Joy has become your evidence. You are no longer surviving, you are shining. The transformation is subtle, yet spectacular. The same eyes that once overlooked you now see something different. They sense weight, wisdom, and worth that can only come from heaven. Even your voice carries new authority. There's a calm when you speak, a glow when you walk, a gravity when you pray. This is not pride, it's presence. It's the reflection of divine partnership. You were not restored to who you were before the storm. You have become someone new because of it. You are stronger, softer, wiser, and infinitely more radiant. You have been transformed from wounded to whole, from hidden to herald, from broken to blooming. And the most astonishing part, God didn't change the soil around you. He changed you within it. You can now walk through old environments without losing peace. You can face familiar faces without shrinking. You can revisit memories that once hurt and see them as harvests of wisdom. This is what divine fulfillment looks like, not always the removal of pain, but the redemption of it. Not always the erasing of the past, but the empowerment that comes from surviving it. The fulfillment isn't just in what you receive, it's in who you've become. Heaven calls this your flourishing season. It's not about spotlight, it's about substance. It's not about applause, it's about alignment. You are finally synchronized with your destiny. Every lesson now serves you. Every scar now speaks for you. Every delay now defends you. You understand why it took so long. You weren't waiting on the promise was waiting on you. There's a glow of gratitude rising within you, the kind that doesn't shout but shines quietly. It's the radiance of someone who knows, "I made it through what was meant to end me." It's the confidence of someone who understands. If God brought me this far, nothing can take me backward. The fulfillment also comes with a divine ripple. As you walk in your new light, those connected to you will begin to awaken too. Your courage will unlock others' callings. Your endurance will inspire their emergence. You will become living proof that death cannot hold what heaven has decreed to live. The garden around you is expanding not just in beauty, but in influence. Doors that once resisted now respond. Paths that once confused now align. And peace, that holy peace, will follow you like fragrance. This transformation is not temporary. It is the eternal evidence that you were always meant to rise. Heaven has stamped completion over your story. The darkness has served its purpose. And the light, your light, now carries heaven's reflection. You have become the prophecy fulfilled. You have become the sign others will see and believe through. You are not just a survivor of storms. You are a symbol of divine timing. And now, as this journey draws to its sacred close, heaven seals the message with words of affirmation, declarations for your spirit to hold, and a blessing to anchor your next chapter. Take a deep breath. You have walked through the dark, endured the silence, and stood still through the storm. Now you stand in the light of what was promised. Heaven smiles upon you. The prophecy is fulfilled. Before this message ends, speak these words aloud, not as hope, but as truth. Let them echo through your home, through your heart, through your future. Let your spirit hear itself declare what heaven already knows. On Affirmation 1. I am planted, not buried. Say it with conviction. Every moment of pressure was preparation. Every season of pain was purpose in disguise. I am not forgotten. I am chosen, covered, and called to bloom. And Affirmation 2. My season is now, not next year, not someday, now. Heaven's timing and my transformation have aligned. Doors are opening, favor is flowing, peace is surrounding me. What God has ordained for me cannot be delayed, denied, or destroyed. Affirmation 3. I bloom with grace. I rise without rivalry. I flourish without fear. I walk in divine rhythm, not human rush. Everything connected to me grows because I carry heaven's fragrance. Affirmation 4. I am covered and complete. I do not chase validation. I carry revelation. I am safe. I am seen. I am sustained. The same hand that planted me now protects me. The same spirit that healed me now holds me. Let this final blessing settle over you like soft rain on fertile ground. May every step you take be guided by divine light. May peace surround your mind like armor. May favor go before you and goodness follow behind you. May your words carry healing. Your presence release calm and your story awaken faith. May no storm uproot what God has planted in you. May every challenge refine, not reduce you. And may your bloom become a living testimony that what was meant to bury you only caused you to rise higher. The soil has served its purpose. The waiting has ended. Your becoming is complete. Now walk boldly in the beauty of your new beginning. You are the living proof of resurrection. You are heaven's reminder that light always wins. You are the promise made visible. Your bloom has begun, and it will never fade.